and welcome to the Midday Brief. My name is Kemini Nyamani. And over the next 1 hour, we'll bring you a chilling story of how a young boy lost his life in pursuit of education. Now, the Upper West Regional Minister, who was attacked by unknown gunmen exactly a week ago, is out of hospital, and we'll check up on him as to how he's doing. Now, the NDC youth groups yesterday held a street Carnival to celebrate the victory of President John Mahama in the just ended December polls. Join me as we bring you details of these stories and many more over the next 1 hour, including some business briefs, news from across the world, and wellness tips. Now, education is a fundamental human right, and according to the 1992 Constitution of the country, every child of school-going age is entitled to free and accessible basic education. But this right is an illusion for many children in rural areas here in the country. Now, apart from mass failures recorded due to challenges such as inadequate and sometimes the lack of teachers and learning materials, some rural children have to pay the ultimate price in their quest for education. And the following report, Manasseh Asuri Awuni takes us through the life of one of such a child, 11-year-old Kwejo Njofuni in Banda in the Krachi Nkumuru district of the Volta region.
It is a cold Wednesday morning in March 2012. Nurses at the Kitikrachi Government Hospital are frantically working on Kwejo Njofuni. He is about to embark on an over 600-kilometer journey to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where he underwent a spinal surgery in 2008. A classroom building collapsed on him and other pupils. Kwejo was to return to Kolebu for a medical review, but his father did not have money, and attempts to get help failed. Kwejo has since been paralyzed and ridden with bed sores. The cost of today's treatment is being borne by some individuals in Accra who stepped in after my first story on Kwejo aired. After nearly 4 years, Kwejo's father is still hopeful. That hope was dashed at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Dr. George Wepaba, a consultant neurosurgeon, confirmed the couple's fears.
Kwejo has not come back for follow-up since 2008. He's been staying in his village. His parents are poor, so they had a problem with rehabilitation, physiotherapy, which is one of the recommendations we gave at that time. It's not had enough physiotherapy. It's not been mobilized enough at home. That's why he developed all these sores. And basically now, that is what he needs.
Kwejo will never walk again. He can neither urinate naturally nor control his bowels, and would forever wear diapers to soak the involuntary discharge of fecal waste. Kwejo has also lost his manhood. Those who sponsored his treatment were also disappointed.
I feel very sad and disappointed that we couldn't intervene again surgically. But I strongly believe and trust that God in His own infinite wisdom would have a way out. And there's certainly a miracle for Kwejo. And as the father said, we will continue to support, we will continue to pray for him, we will continue to give our widow smile from time to time to make sure he's back to school with his friends and continue to enjoy life.
The Njofuni family found their way back to Krachi to nurse Kwejo's sores.
Computer is a machine.
Computer is a machine.
Number 5.
Number 5.
We can use computers to type letters.
We can use computer to type letters.
None of these children has ever seen a computer. but they are determined against the tide of deprivation to excel in their ICT lessons. The absence of a computer is not the immediate headache of the staff and students of Nandi Krom Primary School in Banda. They are studying in a death trap. The cracks all over these visibly weak walls put the lives of about 200 children of this school in danger. The story is not different at the Banda Roman Catholic Junior High School. A few meters away from this school is the Banda DA Junior High School. This is the best school in the Karachi West District, according to the 2010 BECE ranking. The students in this school escaped unhurt when their classroom block collapsed. They were not in class that day, but that was not the case for Class 3 pupils of the Banda English Arabic Primary School in November 2008. The falling wall killed one student on the spot and injured many others. The remaining weak walls were demolished, leaving the open pavilion to house the students. The scars of that accident are still visible on some of the children. Some of them could not undergo the recommended surgeries. Their parents, mostly peasant farmers, could not afford the cost. The children still live with various degrees of injuries. Labi Sumale, for instance, fell into coma for almost 2 weeks after that accident. The inability of his parents to pay for a recommended brain surgery has resulted in a mental problem. The Ghana Education Service did not offer any help, as confirmed by this District Director of Education.
GS, we do not run insurance policies for our students. And so when something happens like that, we appeal to the general public for his support. And the case was reported to the regional director, and I imagine that the regional director would have reported it to the Director General. But so far as I'm aware, nothing has been done about the boy. He is still in hospital as I speak to you.
One child whose condition was still critical was Kojo Njofuni. After his return from Kolebu early this year, he visited the Karachi Government Hospital a number of times as a result of related infections. Through it all, Kwajo and his family kept the candle of hope burning. Kwajo died after 4 years of fierce resistance and indescribable suffering. His distraught mother was speechless, but his father said the family was relieved that it was all over. They would now work and cater for the rest of the children. Kwajo was buried at the Banda Public Cemetery. This is where Godwin Ayensu, who died in the same accident, was buried 4 years ago. Kwajo's life and suffering have ended, but clouds of danger still hang over the students of Banda, and perhaps many more across the country who study in classrooms turned death traps. Education was the major issue for political parties in the just-ended parliamentary and presidential elections. But matching past electoral promises on education against concrete achievements of elected governments, it does not seem much will change until politicians stop focusing on the next election and spare a thought for the next generation. For Joy News, Manasseh Azore Arine reporting.
Really sad indeed, and we hope that authorities go to the rescue of children in Banda. Moving on with the news, 53 spousal murder cases have been recorded in 2 years, with an average of 2 murder cases in a month, through monitoring of the media by Human Rights and Advocacy Center. The issue, which seems to be more alarming, calls for interventions from government, stakeholders and individuals in curbing the situation, particularly violence against the vulnerable in the society. Ya Fusua Jengfi has more on the story.
In Ghana, it is suggested that 1 in 3 women have experienced some form of violence or abuse. Domestic violence in the African context highlights the significance of accepted socio-cultural norms in the prevalence of domestic violence and spousal murder in Ghana. Most of the cases are kept behind closed doors and not reported. John Bafo Jumo is a relative of a victim of spousal murder. He shares how his niece was murdered by a young man on October 28 and how the family has been deeply affected by the incident.
She came into a relationship with a gentleman and they've been in a relationship for the past 4 months. The girl saw something with the gentleman which she couldn't disclose, could not contain it, and made the gentleman aware that she has realized what the gentleman is into and told him if that is what he is into, then the relationship must end. And the gentleman took offense. So after stabbing her 6 times, he just opened the door and then just with the knife in hand, threatened anybody. The next day after the murder, and then in the evening, we learned he also hanged himself. And there was the need for help. And now the family has lost this girl who was not even taking salary and is dead.
The Human Rights and Advocacy Center is disappointed with the high incidence of spousal murder, particularly the cases of the husband or male partner killing his wife or female partner.
For the period, we documented a total of 53 cases of spousal murders, and that translates into 2 spousal murders a month in Ghana, 2 women being killed or a few men being killed by their wives. 42 were wife killings where husbands or boyfriends had killed their wives. And then we had 5 where women or wives or girlfriends had killed their husbands or boyfriends. And then there were 6 cases of rival murders where a man or woman thinks that the wife is having an affair and then goes to kill that man. So we have 2 cases every month, and we think that is quite alarming.
There were high cases reported from the rural areas with the use of machete and other offensive tools. The HARC is therefore calling for interventions, economic independence of women in Ghana, and further research into spousal killings. For now, these are the cases recorded. What about the unreported ones?
In some politics, the new Patriotic Party, barring any hitches, will be headed for court on Friday to challenge the results of the 2012 elections, which according to them was rigged in favor of President Mahama. The party says it has completed gathering all the evidence needed to prove that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the party's presidential candidate, was shortchanged in this year's elections. The party has assured supporters that its legal team is fully prepared to challenge the results. The chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, declared President John Mahama winner of the just-ended elections in spite of demands by the NPP for an audit of the results before declaration. According to the NPP, it has evidence that the ruling National Democratic Congress colluded with some EC officials to fix the results in favor of President Mahama. The Electoral Commission has already gazetted the results of the 2012 elections. Also, the Conservative Alliance Network says it will support a live media coverage of court proceedings in which the opposition New Patriotic Party is seeking to challenge the presidential election results because of its national interest. The statement signed by Anthony Abochie-Friye, Patriots Faisal Ibrahim and Adam Agu-Dogo said covering the court proceedings live in media would not only entrench transparency and full participation of the citizenry, but also give the country the opportunity to display its democratic maturity and respect for rule of law. The statement says, "We believe the challenge to the presidential election results deserves the same coverage since it borders on a sensitive and critical matter in our national life." It cited the Ghana 50 MV Benjamin and National Reconciliation Commission, among others, as some of the public interest cases which had enjoyed a live coverage in the past. Khan applauded the NPP's 2012 presidential candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for resorting to court process in resolving such a delicate matter. Indeed, matters like this have turned otherwise peaceful nations into war-torn countries. The statement added. It also congratulated Ghanaians for the peaceful presidential and parliamentary elections and called on Ghanaians to remain calm as the court proceedings progressed.
The situation, if allowed to go unchallenged, would seriously damage the essence of the electoral process and largely undermine our...
Right, so we're moving away from some politics. Now, the Upper West Regional Minister, Alhaji Amidu Sulemana, has been discharged from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital after undergoing a successful operation to remove bullets from his body. The minister was airlifted from Wa to Accra for further medical attention after sustaining gunshot wounds from a robbery attack on the Fielmoa Golu Road last Thursday. Alhaji Sulemana was in a convoy from Golu in the Sisala West District to Fielmoa to thank his constituents for electing him as their Member of Parliament when the incident occurred. The Public Relations Officer of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, Tango Bagbara, who was with the minister at the hospital, joins us on the telephone to tell us how the minister is faring and exactly where he is at the moment. Right, hello, sir.
Hello.
Right, so where's Alhaji Amidu Suleiman?
Pardon me?
I'm asking, where is the minister?
Okay.
Can you hear me, Tanko?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Right, we understand that the minister has been discharged. Where is he?
Yes, he's been discharged and he's in Accra at his private residence.
And how is he doing today?
Well, he's faring very, very well.
Now, when we spoke to him earlier, he told us that he may have to live with a bullet in his body. Now that he's been discharged, I want to find out from you, indeed, if that is the case or all the bullets were removed.
The line is faint. I'm not able to hear you.
Right, Tanko, I'm asking, is he indeed going to live with a bullet or all the bullets were removed from his body?
I can barely hear you, please.
Right, we'll call you back then. Tanko Bagbara is the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council who was with the minister at the time of the attack. Unfortunately, our lines are bad. He's unable to hear me. But obviously, the minister is fine at his Accra residence. And we'll try and get Tanko back on the telephone line. In the meantime, let's move on with the news where the Jasikan District Chief Executive Nana Berima Kumasi Bonsi II has given an eyewitness account of the death of Volta Regional Minister Henry Ford Kamel. He spoke to Joy News after a meeting with district chief executives from the region at his residence on Wednesday.
I've seen the situation. It's a big loss, a big, irreplaceable loss to the Buim State because he had lofty ideas. You sit down, what we can do to help our people. And he has put a lot of things in place. What we wish for most probably was not what God wished for us.
Right, so let's go back to our earlier story where we gather that the Upper West Regional Minister Alhaji Amidu Sulemani has been discharged from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Earlier when we spoke to Tanko Bagbara, the Public Relations Officer of the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, he mentioned that the minister is fine at his residence here in Accra. But what we want to find out from Tanko, who is back on the line again, is the minister really going to live with a bullet in his body, or all the bullets were removed? Tanko, if you can hear me.
Yes, I think all the bullets were removed and there's nothing in him again.
Right, so tell us exactly the mood in the minister's house, having snatched him away from the hands of death.
Father?
Well, I'm asking, tell us exactly how the minister feels about coming back home and the moods generally in the minister's house.
I can barely hear you, please.
Right, now, maybe you're not rightly positioned. So if you could position yourself well, so we move on with the interview.
Okay.
Right, now, I was asking, how does the minister... Well, we have lost him again, but most importantly, the minister Unlike he told us on Monday, he won't be living with a bullet in his body, and he's essentially bullet-free at the moment. Thank you very much, Tanko. And moving on with the news, thousands of National Democratic Congress faithfuls and well-wishers thronged to the Oxford Street in Accra to participate in a music festival as part of activities to mark the party's victory in the just-ended polls. The event, dubbed John Mahama for the Youth Street Carnival, was organized by pro-Mahama groups including Movement for Mahama, Youth for Mahama, Ladies for Mahama, Zongo for Mahama, among others. The group says that was their way of saying thank you to Ghanaians for supporting President John Mahama to win the 2012 presidential polls.
The event was to congratulate President John Dramani Mahama for winning the just-ended December 7 elections. A sea of supporters of the ruling National Democratic Congress thronged those to Oxford Street to participate in the event. The enthusiastic supporters, clad in T-shirts of NDC party colors with President Mahama's portrait, lined up from the Standard Chartered Bank Osu branch through Frankie's to the Papaya Junction, creating huge vehicular traffic. The supporters, holding party paraphernalia, chanted Mahama, Idebi Keke in excitement and danced to popular NDC campaign songs. It was the first time all the key supporting groups, with their own unique ways of campaigning, came together to organize an event in appreciation of the trust and confidence Ghanaians had reposed in President John Mahama. There were musical performances from the creme de la creme of the Ghanaian music industry, including Sarkodie, D Black, EL, Becca, R2Bs, and Kokese, among others.
One gonna for your pockets, two gonna for your wallet. Charlie make you go sports. What's up? One gonna for your pockets. What you they go do for the club? Right, two gonna for your wallet. About this, 1, 2. Hey, Charlie, what's up? What's up? Charlie, what's up?
The event lasted through the night to the early hours of Thursday morning.
You're welcome back, and you're watching the Joy News channel. This is the Midday Brief. Moving on with the news in Kumasi. The Metropolitan Assembly has spent over 3 million cedis to provide electricity to all the electoral areas in the metropolis. The project forms part of the Assembly's development initiative to enhance the status of Kumasi. Plans are also far advanced for the Assembly to construct a multi-purpose satellite market at Atonsu, Asawase and Krofrom. Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
At an end-of-year interaction with the media, the Kumasi Metropolitan Chief Executive Samuel Sapon expressed his appreciation to the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II and the people for their support for the past 4 years. He noted that the collaborative effort of residents brought about the prevailing peace in the city before and during the general elections. He said the 4 years of the Assembly saw the implementation of several human-centered policies leading to the execution of more than 171 projects. 107 of these projects are education-related, 8 on health facilities, 20 on water and sanitation projects, while 36 on boreholes with overhead tanks for deprived schools and communities.
I must say that I truly appreciate the way and manner the people of Kumasi comported themselves in spite of the overriding challenges associated with elections. It is obvious that the peace currently prevailing comes as a result of the collaborative efforts of all of us. Talk of our policies and programs. It must be put on record that the 4 years of my service at KMA saw the implementation of several human-centered policies, leading to the execution of more than a total of 171 projects.
According to the chief executive, the assembly has spent over 3 million cedis to provide electricity to more than 100 communities in the city. Plans are also far advanced for the construction of a multi-purpose satellite market at Atonsu, Asawase and Krofrom from the assembly share of the Agence Française de Développement 40 million euro grant to 4 assemblies in the country.
You're welcome back. Moving on with the news. The entire Abura township was thrown into a state of shock when a coconut tree fell on a 2-year-old boy yesterday, killing him. The boy, whose identity is yet to be known, was being fed by his mom, a petty trader, when the disaster struck on Boxing Day. The 2-year-old boy's head was smashed when the coconut tree at the St. Lawrence Catholic Basic School at a Bura suburb of Cape Coast suddenly fell on him, killing him instantly. The victim was being fed by the mother when the incident happened on Boxing Day. The disaster comes about 8 months after a tree at Pedu, also a suburb of Cape Coast, killed the mother and her child. Residents and passers-by were taken aback by the disaster. Eyewitnesses and traders who have been trading with the victim's mother couldn't believe the occurrence and have had to hold their emotions back. Richard Kojo Nyako is our Central Regional Correspondent, is joining us by telephone to give us an update on the situation in Ebura. Hello, Richard.
Hello.
Has the boy been identified?
Well, the boy has been identified, but the name has been withheld for some reasons, and so the body has been deposited at the Central Regional Hospital. The police have begun their operation. Yesterday, when the incident happened, the fire service the first people to get to the scene, and so they had to wait for the police command to also come, then do one of the 2 things before the body could be carried to the Central Regional Hospital. But residents have been complaining incessantly about some of the weak trees that are still standing, and authorities of the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly have not done anything about it. You know, about 8 months ago, a tree at Peru also fell and killed a mother and her daughter, and so this one, according to the witnesses or the resident I spoke with, there have been several complaints that coconut tree should be felled, but the authorities have not heeded to the cause of these people, and so this came as a very, very huge loss to them, and so that is what is currently happening. So some of the youth groups I've been speaking with at Abra tell me that they're going to embark on that particular exercise. If the authorities are not going to fell the tree, they are also going to take it upon themselves to cut down all these trees so that to avoid similar occurrences.
Right, second tree in 8 months. How exactly is this? How has it changed the mood in the area?
Well, because yesterday spoiled the day of many who thronged the scene of that disaster, because you know that yesterday was a Boxing Day and the celebration was in, and this mother who was also selling near the roadside and close to the St. Lawrence Catholic School, the mother was feeding the child, and so this came as a shock, and people were really astonished as to why that thing should happen on this fateful day. And so it spoiled the mood of many residents who were at Abra and the environs there, and passers-by who couldn't hold back their emotions. And so that was how the people really received this shocking news.
Where is the mother of the boy?
The mother of the boy followed the police to the Central Regional Mortuary, and so she's been consoled by a resident who lives near, and she tells me that is her first child, and so it has come as a great loss. And I wanted to even speak with her, but she couldn't grant me any interview, and so she's very, very sad about the happening.
You earlier on mentioned that after the tree fallen in Pedu, which also killed a mother and her child, residents had been appealing to authorities to come to their aid. What are authorities saying now that there's been a second one in 8 months?
Well, the authorities, you know, we are in the festive mood, and so they went for a break, and so we yet to get the side and the reaction from the Cape Metropolitan Assembly, the authorities there, as to what they are going to do. Because when the first one happened, many discussions cropped up and resulted in nothing, and so some of these weak trees are still there. That one resulted as a result of a storm that came, but this one, nothing happened. There was no storm, there was no any strong wind or something. No one pushed the coconut tree, and it fell because there were some indications that this coconut tree was very weak. And so, if you visit Abra, Pedu, and other places, other suburbs in Cape Coast, you see some of these old trees, and some also view them as maybe oracles or something for the gods, and so cutting them by themselves would be a very, very Herculean task. And so they wanted the collaboration of the traditional authorities and the assembly so that maybe some libations can be poured in order for some of these trees to be cut down.
Interesting. Then people must be reading some sort of superstition into this occurrence as well. Is that the case?
Yeah, people read a lot of meanings into this one. You know, we cannot run away from tradition and some of these practices. And so the people still believe that there are some gods, and so they need to pacify or perform certain rites and rituals before some of these cutting can be done. And so because that is why the groups are also unable to cut down, because they need the combined efforts of the assembly and the traditional authorities in order for some libation or certain rituals to be performed before some of these trees. You know, Cape Coast is an ancient town, and so some of these things are right here, and so people hold have some strong belief in some of these things, because if you come to Cape Coast, they say that there are 77 gods, and so some of these gods are in some of these trees, and so they need the intervention of the traditional authorities in order for some of these things to be done.
Right, thank you very much, Richard. Richard Kojo Nyakon is our correspondent in the Central Region. He's been updating us on the tree that killed a young boy. Now, moving on with the news, Giftiando Apia spent a day at Bukum on Boxing Day, which was yesterday. The day originally means giving gifts to loved ones, but Boxing, the day means something else. Residents of Bukum and its environs have personalized the day, and Gifty paid to them a visit to find out what the day meant to them and how they have been spending it over time.
We arrived in Bukum at about 1 p.m. No activities were ongoing. We were told there was a children's boxing competition earlier in the morning, and the next one will be late in the evening. People were scattered around minding their own businesses. The growing phenomenon I noticed was gold hair dye. Children and adults alike had white gold colors in their hair.
When you do happy color, just for the Christian, that's why I'll do the color in my head. The bugo is okay for the Christmas. I think say I want to speak English, but yeah, that's right. The West cannot come. wonder where I affiliate neighbor now. One town Afia and this everybody now on a kind of one now you couldn't need to map a man who won't watch you. Tell us, this or mafia or check or your blue now.
In the households, cooking was the order of the day. These people are spending the day with the Ghanaian delicacy, fufu and chicken soup. Of course, not without bottles of beer.
We don't have money, but actually we have to celebrate because we don't have the money. But so far as the Christmas has come to us, we have to join it. Now and tomorrow, I'm going to chill myself well. Hey, I have to go to club, dance. What I have to tell them to take care. They don't have to do something bad to eat themselves. They have to, although they have to celebrate, but they have to take care.
24th, 25th, and Bemisha. She made him well, Misha. I can never go through you. While you are there, she no go for occasion. Look where Sunny Bog Beko come go near Benupo. Then I can both Fenuko. 24th bush this year, no, 24th bush. Oh, no, go. She went by this Savannah track and near Benufene. She went to be an edge, if 30. No, one be walla. Angami. Na menya mechuni. Na menya wa. Konya ka ngomoko ni bahabono. Sani bo mbomo de no onya wa. No chubana fe ka ayafe ni bo onyo yeko.
We moved on to the Sempe Palace. The usual bubbly atmosphere was absent. It was all still and quiet. We walked on to the seaside. Naked children would just not stop swimming. Fishermen mending their nets and boats scattered on the water in a rather orderly procession. On the bridge of the sea, though, we found some answers to the real meaning of Boxing Day on their calendar. They told us that Boxing Day is all about bukum because that is where boxers are made to fight and win. Ato thinks it is just another holiday and has made some plans to enjoy in the evening.
Because Boxing Day is a dear corner and Kovanyo last few Monukoni are for no Jane, just no less Shomon.
Okay, look about boxing. Look at Kimoko, no Boxing Day.
You Jane, I can give you be an enemy. But I mean, silent, I may feel that boxing like Cockam cook when you only near to my time or enough Fiona kicking again. Boxing a fair Kawi and Babuku. Kawi and Babuku. I know boxing Kumasi. I mean, Cabana Biaka, Mofia when you box and Elena Kani. Miala was so. Michelle Post, original.
This gentleman who likes to call himself Obama and his friend do not agree with my assertion that Boxing Day is a day to box and give out gifts. Obama says, my explanation is an adulteration of the real essence of Boxing Day.
Boxing Day, no, okay, Boxing Day. Where we go in 26. Cash like a beer. Wafe, cut a gym, any gym at all. Aloe gym, Uto gym, about now, Naka, no, let my panepo, I just show more. Ah, Gashi, one level man pa, sharp. No, what was in no money where stadium. Stopper. Me, I mean, no, no money stadium, no, Monica or for the beer. No, stadium, no, aqua bossing there. Bossing day, David, I came on the Bossing day. Boss, I send you aqua training. Come while I am owner. Now, Lua make our games. No, the Bossing day. 26 or to moment again. Maybe I know now I can back in a year. What I can know boss champion Jibu. Yeah, naked and then about going and about saying Wako. Oh, yeah, Nina games and I am. No, you bossing day.
While mending their nets, these fisher folks are busily planning for the night in their minds. They also know about Boxing Day.
Me na Boxing Day. Anano bossing your mom. She wanna shona be you. When Shona want to need, she will have a mammy besso. She will not to lower, be a talk of Bina, the one in army, your mammy. When I'm a show be the guy, she can boss in dinner, or now me she, mini poor mammy.
Boss Dindia, Mishinoake, a cool argument, Eva. One bosses, one side and one side, Buffy argument. Kebalag argument, ever sending Abuamen and Ame and Ano. As a Boxing Day, because go Wabua Kuta Boxing Day, Mogobani Bagaka, Menema, Anamano, Alumina, she argument Baba. You go one gym Bafi agreement ni Abafi fight English. Boss in there no go be mafia again your business enemy true. No boss in there Mayani ma akwe.
Saga can only feel fine. Ni me feel me for ni million no more. If I SPM, ma challenge me ko. Ni kamano. Ma tash ma ko en memory ba. Ni kin ko en memory ba. Ni mo na ba no ni ke feel me for. Ni ke an look pe ko ma ka machine. Ni ke gbe me ato mo ko ma ni ma challenge la ni ngela no.
That will be their typical Boxing Day. Their children took the day to show off their swimming skills. Perhaps all they understand about the day is to take time off helping their parents in their trade to make an exciting use of the water below.
Right, so away from Bokum and back here on the Midday Brief, Jennifer Jane Asante brings us some wellness tips and briefs from across the world in showbiz and sports. How do you do today?
I'm doing quite well.
Gorgeous.
How do you
I
do?
love your dress.
Oh, thank you, dear.
But give us some wellness tips.
Sure, no problem. Today we will be talking about oral and personal hygiene. Now, you know that oral and personal hygiene are just about the most inexpensive form of preventive health measures. But even though they are easier and cheap to practice, it's surprisingly one of the most ignored practices. According to health experts, Ghanaians hardly seek dental care unless they start suffering from a toothache or one form of mouth odor or the other.
Oral health care is often forgotten about and is mostly seen as less important to other ailments. But the mouth is said to be the gateway to the body. And Dr. Samuel Kra of the Rage Hospital explains the importance of oral hygiene.
We also need the teeth for aesthetic purposes. For example, if a young man or a young woman loses quite a number of the teeth, your lip or your cheeks may suck in, and it may give you a premature aged face. You are maybe 25, you look like you are 45. So the teeth are very important for cosmetic purposes. For phonetics, speech, when you lose your teeth, you are not likely to pronounce certain words properly. So we need the teeth for speech. So these are some of the reasons why we need to take very good care of our teeth.
However, as diets change to include more sugary snacks with less fruit and vegetables consumed, there is an increasing need for people to have regular dental checkups and sometimes even actual dental treatment. But how often or when was the last time you paid a visit to the dentist?
No, I have not been to the dentist. This is my first time. But since there's a problem, I have to see to it. And that's why I'm here. I have been thinking of seeing a dentist for maybe a cleanup or something, but I don't have the means, so it's on the cool note.
It's quite some time I visited a dentist. I can only go to the dentist if I have a problem, but I brush my teeth like twice a day, I feel it's okay for that. I don't need to see any dentist.
Some of them fear. They are just afraid of the dentist. The dental chair and the dental treatment, probably because of an experience they had or what they have heard somebody say. Others too fail to come because they are too busy, and they can only be allowed to come when maybe there's pain and a swelling. Others too will try to use all kinds of concoctions at home. I saw one who said he was advised to use his urine to gargle. People just resort to all kinds of treatment at home. And most of the time, when everything fails before we see them, and at that time, usually it's a bit too late.
Dr. Samuel Kra also noted, even though Ghanaian attitude towards dental care is improving, many visit the dental clinic mostly when they are suffering from toothache or one form of mouth odor or the other.
At Rage Hospital, we literally see maybe the same, or progressively we are even seeing more people In 2007, we had a total of 11,154 patients visiting us. 2008, it increased to 12,838. And I mean, it's progressing like that. So averagely, we see about 12,000 people every year at Rich Hospital Dental Department. And majority of them come with problems that need extraction, taking out the tooth, which I said is not the best. We would have loved to save the tooth because there are many things we can do to save the tooth if the person comes early enough.
The importance of oral health should not be underestimated, as it can seriously impact on the rest of the body, as some infections in the mouth or teeth increases the risk of other health conditions, including heart diseases, respiratory disorders, and diabetic complications.
You don't know any condition that is developing in your mouth. Even systemic conditions can reveal themselves in the mouth, like diabetes, cancers, and the rest. A dentist can pick it up, and even HIV. A dentist can pick it up just by some signs that will show in the mouth. We are fortunate to have National Health Insurance covering most of those conditions now. So if you have the card, just make good use of it. It's very, very important.
It is therefore advised that at least you visit the dentist twice in a year for routine checkup and not only for extraction of a tooth.
We will advise that you can eat everything you are eating, enjoy your Christmas, but as much as possible, avoid the sugary candies. We will prefer that you take fruits, the natural fruits, which will give you a lot of good nutrients, drinks and chocolates and sweeties and all that, but we will advise that we limit that to a basal minimum.
Being diligent about your dental health care and getting regular dental checkups can prevent and reverse early mouth infections and gum diseases.
And now we have some good news for you in our international brief. The former South African President Nelson Mandela will not be celebrating New Year in the hospital. He has finally been discharged. We have this and more next in our international